Hello everyone, welcome back to another Sci Friday. My name is Brandon, the Education Director here at the Grout Museum, coming back to you with another experiment. This time we're doing something with vegetable oil, water, and frozen water, also known as ice. All stuff that you probably have at home, so this is another experiment that you can easily do at home. Now, if you've ever had a cup of ice water, you know that when you take some of that ice and you put it into your water, the ice floats at the top of the water. This is because ice, the frozen form of water, is what we call less dense than water. Density is basically what it weighs in a certain amount. So density equals mass divided by volume, if you want to know the math. Ice is less dense than water, and so it floats on top of water. Oil is less dense than water, so if I take some of my oil and I pour it in here, it floats up to the top because it's less dense, so it floats on top of the water. So if I know my oil is less dense than water, and I know ice is less dense than water, what happens if I put ice into oil? We're going to go ahead and do that experiment right now. So we're going to go ahead and take some of our ice here, and we're going to put it into our cup of oil. You can see it floats about in the middle because they're about the same density, but they're both less than water. Now, if you remember, I very much pointed out that ice is just frozen water. So if we let this go long enough, as these start to melt, they become water instead of ice. And so you can see some of them start to sink to the bottom because they're starting to become water, liquid water, instead of ice. And so they become less dense and they start to go down to they become more dense and start to float down to the bottom. And we're going to go ahead and just watch it as it starts to melt and see what it does. So in that experiment, what you saw was some of the ice cubes seemed to sink right away. And I'll explain why that happens. So these ice cubes are sitting out in a room, and if you see inside this cup, there's water at the bottom. They're already melting. And so as they're melting, they're becoming water and covered in water. And so since water is denser and it holds on to the ice, it dragged the ice down with it. But if you notice, some of the ice cubes that seemed to float at the top in that experiment, as they melted and the water came off, you saw like big globs of water seem to drop down through the oil into the bottom. And that's because the ice cube is less dense than oil, but as it becomes water, it becomes more dense than oil. And so as it becomes water, it goes down because denser things go to the bottom. So I want to thank you guys for coming to another Sci Friday. Hopefully you try this experiment at home. It's a really easy one with stuff you have at home. And if you do, let us know. Tag the Grout and let us see you do the experiment yourself. We'll see you next time, guys. Thanks.